We make a start here, will we? We've got a few more people on now. So Inside Gradireland, this Lunch and Learn is called. So as most of you will know, Gradireland is a partnership between AHEX and GTI, and we actually celebrated the 20th anniversary there a few weeks ago. Hard to believe. But we work closely together, and I know that the Gradireland team, and talking to Gavin and Rory over the last, certainly over the last couple of years, there's been a lot of change in the team, and there's certainly a few new faces here that I haven't met. So that's the purpose of this session, to share some updates around, particularly around your staff team, what has changed, and then anything else you want us to know around what your direction of travel is for Gradireland in 2022. So it's really over to you guys, and then we'll use the chat function and Q&A for anybody to come in and ask questions. So the floor is yours, Gavin, Rory, whoever's going to go first.
That'll be me. Yeah, thanks very much, Trevor. Thanks for the opportunity to join us here as part of your Lunch and Learn series. We really do appreciate it. I've just a few notes here, things to cover off, but as you mentioned, Trevor, there's a lot of change the last few years. There's a lot of familiar new faces on this call, to some of you here. So, I know you're sick of looking at me and Gavin, so you'll be glad to hear you don't have to listen to us for the entire call. So we'll hand you over to my colleagues. So, I mean, there's been a lot of change, as I've just said, over the last couple of years. So amongst the people you meet today will be Piers Moyles, gives away there, Piers, Gabriel Eppel and Niall Gormley. They're all from our customer success team. And then we have our commercial team lead, David Farrell, and his colleagues, Mark Gordon and Connor Queenan, who also work in our commercial team. And Gavin will wrap things up for us towards the end of the call. Fiona Doherty, who's our marketing manager, is on maternity leave at the moment. And her colleague, Natasha Clark, who's our marketing executive, is on leave today. But Natasha has kindly recorded a short video that I'll share with you later, just to give you an overview of what it is that she does and the marketing functions and how that dovetails with everything that we do. And I know that she's been really appreciative of the help that everyone in AHEX has given her in terms of promoting events, undergrads of the year, the awards, and the social collateral that she shares with you. We really do appreciate that. So, it's, as Trevor said, the last 2 years, it's been a transformative time for everybody. Everybody on this call is not working the same way they were 2 years ago, and that's the same for us. It was very challenging at times, the economic environment, as we all know, but we have managed to achieve a lot over the course of what was the worst of the pandemic, I hope. Last but not least, or firstly, I suppose, is the new Gradireland platform, which was nicknamed Project Inferno, which was very apt in many ways. So that was launched last September, and that's really increased both the scope of what we can offer to employers and students. For students, in terms of personalization, in terms of jobs, organizations, content, it's far the personalization that we now offer is a completely different level to what we had previously. We now have a platform that allows us to build ahead rather than literally build as we go, which is what the old system had us kind of tied down to. In terms of the employer offering, which the commercial team will touch on with you, it gives us so much more scope in terms of what we can offer employers. Keeping people engaged with the Gradireland brand is very important to us during the pandemic, and there's some very creative ways of doing that through our marketing team. But we also, now they may seem like almost old-fashioned talk about virtual careers events, but 2 years ago we were wondering would they ever be a thing, and we delivered over 7 virtual careers events and other related business masterclass and things like that, reaching over 20,000 students, delivered seminars, delivered jobs, most importantly, and kept them involved with the Gradireland partnership. In terms of research, we have Civil, which previously was known as Trendance. It was now rebranded as Civil over the past year to 18 months. And we've recently, we've got new research coming out from Civil, which we'll be sharing with you over the course of the next weeks and months. And then, of course, in partnership with other elements of the GTI business, we've continued to refine our Target Connect product and what that offers our AHEX and university partners. So the main reason I said is to meet new faces. We lost 6 members of the Gradireland team during the pandemic who left to pursue new opportunities. It was obviously particularly challenging losing people who had been here in the business for over 10, 12, 13 years, I think in Ashling's case. And that's just a massive loss of kind of corporate knowledge. And, it's great we're still on such friendly terms with these people, and that we still get tips and advice off them, but it was, a real loss not to have them in the business day in, day out. And we've learned a lot in terms of the bridging the kind of knowledge gap, but it's also provided opportunities for us. I think renewal is a good thing, and that's why some of the faces you'll meet here today, they've been an absolute pleasure to work alongside, remotely, in person, when we get together twice a week in the office. And it's a really strong team we have, and it gives us a renewed sense of purpose and optimism indeed for the future. In my own point of view, from a content perspective, Inferno means, or Inferno, Gradireland, Inferno to me means an entirely new speed of delivering content. So it's going to be an extremely busy year as we deliver content to a whole new set of metrics that we're working with the newly constituted product team in the UK. We now have a dedicated product team to help us deliver the Gradireland content in the best possible fashion. We also obviously working on delivering seminars and events virtually, and that's also something that I'm involved in from a content perspective. And then there's still print. We've listened to the JMB with AHEX. We know there's still a demand for the Gradireland directory, Ireland's 100, when we will deliver those again this year. We'll also work on delivering the sector guides in a way that works for employers and for career services, and of course for students. And in terms of the broader business, I suppose we're very excited now that we've got our first live event in 2 years next week. And it's the inaugural Gradireland Undergraduate of the Year Awards. And this is a really exciting addition for the Gradireland calendar to recognise students and excellence in Irish third level institutions. We're holding that in the Morrison Hotel. So yeah, it's just, as opposed to, worrying about registrations and lining up, live storm sessions, to actually have it that we're over in a hotel last week, checking out lighting, checking out a podium, checking out entrances, checking out menus. So something we're looking forward to. But I suppose even more exciting, and I think for a lot of people in this call too, is that we have the Gradireland Graduate Recruitment Awards on April 28th in the Mansion House. Obviously, we haven't seen many people here since 2019. We had our last awards, so we're working on delivering what should be a very enjoyable night on the 28th, and we look forward to seeing so many of you there. There's a lot of work to be done, from myself and Gavin's perspective, in terms of working closer with the career services during the course of this year. Everything we do has to be done, I suppose, in tandem with AHEX. So we are delivering what works for your students. You are the knowledge and thought leaders in the space, and that's why, as Gavin said to JMB, that we will be out on the road at some point in the next 6 to 8 weeks, meeting with as many career services as we can, depending on your calendars. I know you're all busy, but we'll be in touch and reaching out, finding some space, hopefully, that we can come down, visit, find out what it is you need, what it is we can do better to help you, and how you can help us deliver better results for students. So without further ado, this is me talking on for long enough, I'll let you meet some new people. So one of the big additions to Gradireland in the last 2 years has been customer success. Before that, it was, we worked with commercial to onboard customers, and then we would then work to, deliver the Gradireland, either content or commercial collateral ourselves. Customer success now is dedicated to delivering that in the best possible fashion. And with that, I'll just hand over to Piers Moyles, who's head of customer success, and he'll explain to you what customer success delivers for Gradireland.
Thanks, Joe. I don't have to say anything. You covered everything I was going to say there, which is handy. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all. I think I've met some of you over the course of kind of our live events and virtual ones as well, from hosting seminars and presentations. So I won't keep you too long from my end. So who am I? I suppose I will kick off. So my background is actually in journalism. I studied journalism and French back when it was DIT up in Angel Street. And I've been with Gradireland since 2018, so 4 years now in August. And I've had different roles. So when I first joined, I was in email marketing. Then I worked with, I think Rue might disagree on the definition of work, but worked with Rue in content for a year as well. And now, as Rui said, I lead the customer success team. So just very quickly and broad overview, what is customer success? So essentially, customer success manages employer relationships and ensures that their goals, expectations and key objectives are being met. And we achieve this using our platform, resources, software and expertise. So that's kind of a broad overview of what the function is, but what is it in a Gradireland GTI context? So customer success touches a lot of areas of the business internally, from marketing, content, commercial, but we also operate within two of our main stakeholder groups, which are employers and third level institutions. So we manage the different levels of subscriptions which the members of the commercial team sell to both employers and third level institutions, as well as short-term campaigns. So for example, a 4-week opportunity or job on the new Gradireland platform, as an example. In total, between myself, Gabby and Niall, we manage around 100 clients, for want of a better word, in that space. And I'll let Gabby and Niall in a second speak on how we manage those clients, our relationships with them, and they'll give a little bit more granular detail and kind of hopefully give you a perspective of what a day in the life of customer success looks like, as exciting as that sounds. What does success within customer success look like? Easy for me to say. So essentially, success within CS means little to low churn is a key metric for us. Churn is how we measure the renewals of subscription. So if employers could continue to renew their subscription, then we have low churn, which is ultimately a good thing. Broadly speaking, if an employer or third level institution is meeting their goals and KPIs, that is success for us as well, because we've helped them ultimately to achieve that success and achieve their goals. What is my role within CS really quickly? So I'm the CS team lead, and my role within that is to ensure the team are achieving all their goals, to ensure that we have the correct processes in place for the guys to achieve their goals and achieve success for us and our key stakeholder groups, and implement key metrics and KPIs to help us achieve this success as well. I take a top-down view of the function as a whole to strive for constant improvement, constant growth, and I do this by developing strategies with other senior managers within GTI as a whole, both here in Ireland and in the UK as well. Rory touched briefly there on kind of the implementation of customer success, and that's why you're hearing about it now. So we developed customer success about 2 years ago, I think, give or take, and the idea was to move away from our old approach, which was slightly on the passive side of things. And as Rory said, it was where key account managers managed the relationship with the employers and the institutions, and one individual managed all of that collateral then in kind of conjunction with the account manager, which is what actually my first job within Gradireland was. So customer success allows us to be a lot more proactive, and that's a really key word for us with our clients and stakeholders, and to ultimately foster a closer relationship with them as well, to achieve their version of success. Now, employers' versions of success, there's a wide range within that. So it could be anything from achieving more applications for their graduate programs, building the brand in a certain area, help them achieve gender balance in their hires, make progress within D&I internally, become the employer of choice within their sector of operations, move up within Ireland's 100. There's loads of different kind of key objectives that employers have that we ultimately help them achieve. So the implementation of customer success means that we're consultants now, and we're experts in the field of graduate recruitment in that landscape, and we now work more closely than ever with our stakeholders to achieve their goals. So that was me trying to keep it as short and sweet as I can. So I'll hand you over now to both Gabby and I, who between them will kind of let you know about customer success on a more granular level, but happy to take any questions, as kind of Ruth at the start, in the chat, or if you need to pop me an email, that's absolutely no problem at all. It's just my name, so piers.moyles@gradireland.com. But I'll hand you over to Gabby now.
Hi everyone, really nice to virtually meet you all. As Piers says, I'm Gabrielle, and customer success exec here with the team and working with Piers and Niall. So I first started about a year and a half ago at this stage. My background is in marketing, so very apt in kind of in all the work that we do on the daily. It's very heavily linked. So when I first started, as Piers mentioned, customer success was fairly new. They were only about 6 months into developing this function. So I kind of was here from fairly the beginning, and I suppose we've come such a long way in that year and a half that customer success has first started. It's kind of chalk and cheese in terms of where we are now in comparison to the past. I suppose looking at customer success and the role that I do on the daily, it's all about commercial. They sell those subscriptions that Piers mentioned there. They get handed over to us. We divvy up the clients as needed and as we're able to kind of take on more clients. That's how kind of we determine that. And from there we onboard those clients. So what that looks like is we take them on a call through the platform and through their subscription elements, and really talk to them about their key goals for the year and kind of what they want to achieve with working with us. And that kind of leads us to a customer success plan that we put together for that client, which really outlines everything they need to know in terms of the platform, how to kind of use each of the functions that they've purchased, and really take that on that consultative approach and really offer great advice in terms of how to achieve the best they can with working with us throughout the year and achieve those goals that they have set out to us on that call. So we really try, sometimes, it is that hand-holding piece of, taking clients through and really taking them through the process. Whereas, we look at some other clients and they've worked with us for years, and it's all about, their goals might be very, very different to those of the new clients. So yeah, when I did start, I also worked in events, and we're kind of coming full circle at the moment, because I'm kind of dipping my toe back into events at the moment. I'm working alongside Rue and Gav with the upcoming awards and the summer fair as well. So I'm sure I have communicated with you in the past. Some of you, I see some familiar names, and I'm sure I'll be talking to you, over the coming weeks and months regarding the other fairs as well. But yeah, I suppose that's kind of my snapshot in terms of customer success, and I'm going to hand you over to Niall now, and he's going to talk you through kind of how we use data to achieve those goals for those clients, and kind of what our next steps are.
Thank you, Gabby. Nice to meet everybody virtually. So my name is Niall Gormley. I'm a customer success executive with Gradireland here. I joined the company last August. My background is in business and marketing. I studied at University of Ulster in Coleraine and worked in recruitment for a number of years before joining Gradireland. Gabby and Piers have pretty much covered a lot of it. Our role is really to ensure that we get the most out of the subscription for our clients, both employers and postgrads. I would work heavily with postgrads, universities and third level institutions to ensure that they do get the most out of their subscriptions. As Gabrielle mentioned, we would use data and a lot of statistics to inform, how we go about our work. We would every day run statistics on every job that we have on the site, as well as being able to see, impressions, click-throughs, things like that, on employer profiles, which really help us to determine what, if any job in particular or any company or postgrad needs a bit of a push. In terms of what we can do, using that data, we can help to push jobs, to promote them, spotlight them on our job feed, to include them more prominently in our summary emails, and also to send out a targeted email specifically for that institution or that employer if needed. As I say, that's really what we do in terms of the clients. Myself, I have a marketing background, so I've been sort of, as Gabby has been dipping her toe into events, I've been doing the same for marketing. So myself and Natasha have been working closely for the last number of weeks just on social media in particular, and what we can do to help to promote the business as a whole, and as opposed to promote different events and what we have coming up as well. As Piers said, any questions or anything like that, my email is niall.gormley@gradireland.com, but I will pass you over to, I think it's Davey now.
Cheers, Niall. I'm off mute now. On top of that technical difficulty, the glare behind me is making it really difficult for me to see my notes. So I'll try and get through everything, obviously, as quick as possible. As Niall said, I'm Davey. I'm actually working in Gradireland for 9 years as of last week, so I'm not one of the new faces. I started as an account manager, kind of focused on technology, science, and the engineering employers. So pre-pandemic, the role basically involved traveling around the country to employers and having kind of consultative meetings about their marketing needs, their attraction needs, marketing plans, recruitment, and kind of brand strategy. Since the pandemic, however, there's kind of been 3 big changes that have impacted my role. So firstly, meetings are now virtual, which has kind of made the commercial function a lot more efficient and just made it much easier to have kind of conversations with different types of employers at different stages in terms of, their graduate plans. So I suppose a good example is there's no more driving to kind of the Cork, Galway and Clonmel plant to meet all the different stakeholders for someone like Boston Scientific, when now in a virtual world, I can kind of speak to all of those, at the same time, on a 1-hour video call, so everyone's kind of on the same page. Secondly, the new Gradireland platform has transformed the way we're perceived by existing employers. and potential new business. We're now seen more as kind of a progressive technology company, which I think imbues a lot more trust, from the employers in terms of the idea that they're getting the best possible return on investment by working with us. And that said, technology is great, but the fact that the careers fair is back face to face this year is actually really exciting, and the employers I've spoken to already are really looking forward to it. And then lastly, in terms of the changes since the kind of pandemic period, there's been a lot of personnel changes within the office. So I've actually taken on a new role as commercial team lead in the last year. And I'm really happy to have been able to hire and mentor 2 superstars onto the commercial team in the last year in Mark Gordon and Connor Queenan. So that's just a quick overview of my role and who I am. If there's any questions, kind of pop them in the chat. But at that stage, I will pass over to Mark.
Cheers, Davey. Yeah, a little bit about myself. Where Davey is, I suppose, 8-9 years in Gradireland last week. I am 1 year in Gradireland today. So happy birthday to me. I work on the obviously commercial team here at Davey, and one of my key functions, which will always be of interest to people on this call, is the postgrad, I suppose, network and kind of growing that business. And it was something I took over late last summer, and it's something I've really enjoyed working on and kind of, I suppose, discussing and showcasing how the platform can amplify your message, I suppose, tell your story, and really kind of, I suppose, play a really key role in the marketing mix for your student attraction and for your application attractions. So I'd be happy to have, I suppose, a follow-up call with anyone who's interested in learning more about that. There's obviously a few familiar faces, as the guys have said on this call, but one of my that's one of my kind of remits. Other than that, it would be obviously growing the business from an employer sense, and obviously bringing everyone through that and kind of, I suppose, discussing the massive strides that the platform has allowed us to take from a graduate attraction point of view. From the event side, obviously, I'm really looking forward to the first in-person event in 2 weeks' time, then obviously the awards, and looking forward to meeting a number of you at that, as well as the kind of summer fair and the graduate careers fair in September. But I will pass you over to the second superstar on the team, as David mentioned, Connor.
Cheers, Mark. Hi, everyone, and nice to meet you all virtually. So, to go back to my kind of third level background, began with stints in Maynooth and UCD, finishing off with a master's in human rights law. Straight out of college, joining Ticketmaster International as an account manager, looking after our sports clients in the UK and Ireland. During the midst of the pandemic, I completely bandwagoned my way over to the e-commerce sector, which was obviously booming, where I worked in eBay as an account manager with UK businesses as well. And that led me to Gradireland last November. I think the guys have summed up the commercial offering really well in general as a kind of broad outlook, but personally, with the launch of the new platform, back to in-person events, it's a really exciting time to begin, and I'm really looking forward to the coming months and what we can achieve. Lastly, for me, just commercially, kind of a side note, I work with the civil research team in the UK also, and a really key aspect of this piece is making sure our survey numbers really high, so our clients are, getting the best possible outlook at the Irish market and how their brand is being perceived, and really drilling down the data. And that's only possible really through the support of the career services across Ireland. It would not be so heavily responded to if it wasn't for that support. So big thank you from ourselves and Civil on that side. But yeah, that's me, and I think I'm passing over to Gav to finish up.
Sorry, I'll just jump in there because we're just going to share Natasha's video to highlight the marketing function. Now, you bear with me, Davey showed me how to do this sharing sound thing on Teams. So I hope you can see a screen coming up. No, yes. Sorry, excuse me. Let's try it again. Gotcha. I apologize. Hope you can all see a video here of Natasha.
Yeah, you can see that.
Hi, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Natasha Clark, and I am the Student Marketing Executive with Gradireland. I started with Gradireland just over a year and a half ago, after having recently graduated from Dundalk Institute of Technology with a bachelor's degree in global marketing. from joining the team, I have been working in a number of areas across the business, most of which have been student facing. So for example, I work on the distribution and communication of our events, encouraging registrations and participation at events as well. So at events, seminars and employer booths. I also highlight the excellent content on our site through emails and social media, and this is to students and graduates. Certain areas that I would highlight would be company profiles, jobs on site, articles on interviews, assessment centres, and so on. We also work on campaigns to increase brand recognition and student registrations on our platform. But not only that, we're also retargeting to students who are already registered on our platform. So we're retargeting with information on events, on jobs live, the employer profiles, and other relevant areas of the site that are of benefit to them. Over the last couple of months, myself and the wider team have been working really hard on the delivery of the Gradireland Undergraduate of the Year Awards, which I must say I'm very proud of. This event is an excellent addition to the Gradireland calendar of events. It celebrates excellence among students, and we're really excited about the delivery of that. My work has really only begun with Gradireland. I'm very much looking forward to what's in store for the next couple of months, particularly the reintroduction of our in-person events and the strengthening of our relationships with students. If anyone has any questions for me or would like to find out any more about marketing plans that we have ahead, please feel free to drop me an email. I also want to say a huge thank you to you and your wider team for distributing all the emails and collateral that I've sent you over the last couple of months to students. So thank you very much for that.
Now, I hope that worked enough for everybody. And that, yeah, Natasha, she's does fantastic work, and we look forward to welcoming Fiona back into our team and continuing to deliver on our marketing functions throughout the year. Gav, would you have a few words if you want to wrap things up from our side?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Drew, and thanks to the team, I suppose, for taking the time to put all of that together. We kind of hope that it has been helpful to everybody, you know, on the call today. Like as Rue said from the very outset, it's been a particularly turbulent few years for us all, anybody that's been involved in early careers. And notwithstanding the challenges that we were presented with in terms of COVID, the market, retention issues that we had, you know, within the team, I think what has been really central to our work has been the support that we've had from our partners in HEX, each and every single one of you that are on the call, and that of your teams. You know, the importance of the Gradireland partnership was something that we had the opportunity to celebrate in person a number of weeks back with a number of members, some of which are on this call, and it was just fantastic to be able to see our colleagues and friends that we haven't had the opportunity to see and meet over the last number of years. And I suppose that connection is something that we're very keen to continue to take advantage of. And I suppose, given that we're now able to start having face-to-face events again, we're very much looking forward to seeing you all in person soon. Myself and in fact, Rory mentioned at the start of the call, actually, one of the things that I had presented when I took over the job as managing director a number of years ago was I presented to the executive in, I think it was, Trevor, you might correct me if I'm wrong on this, I think it was around January, February 2019, wasn't it? 2018, 2019?
2019, was it?
Was it 2019? Yeah. And I think one of the things that, you know, when I was able to come down with Mark Mitchell and meet with you all in person in Limerick, one of the things that I'd stated at that event was my desire and ambition to get to know each and every single one of you in a little bit more detail, because I suppose the very nature of the work that we do, it doesn't always allow us to get to see each other as often as perhaps we would like. Little did I know that 8 weeks later that despite all of my best intentions of being able to jump into the car around March and April, it was absolutely torpedoed with a pandemic. That ambition and that desire still exists, and myself and Rory will be in touch over the next number of weeks. We are very, very keen now that we can, in a safe way, come down to meet with all of the heads of service and to rekindle, perhaps some of the relationships that have gone understandably quiet over the last couple of years. We do see Gavin and Trevor and the rest of the gang and on Hex and JMB and the executive on a pretty regular basis, but we are absolutely committed to this partnership. We're committed to each and every single one of you. We're committed to ensuring that you have exactly what it is you need from members of our team here, but also that we have a very clear understanding as to what it is you're looking to achieve from the partnership, but also if there's anything that you need from us to actually assist with you and helping your students to gain a better understanding as to what Gradireland does and how we can actually help you. This year we are hoping for what we would hope to be a more of a steady state pre-COVID year. It has been a financially very challenging period for us. But as the guys have outlined in the call today, like we have a fantastic team. We really are so fortunate that with the people that we lost that were, key and integral core members of the team, that every single member of the team that you will have met today have all joined the organisation. Those that have mentioned that they've been here a long amount of time, myself, Rue, Davy and whatever. The newer members of the team have been a breath of fresh air to the business. They've brought new energy, new ideas, but also kind of new commitment and new enthusiasm for the partnership based on what it is we do with each and every single one of you. So exciting times ahead. We're very much looking forward to seeing you, as I said, in person over the next while, but in the shorter term, being in a position to meet with you all at the awards at the end of the month. So I think we're about 35 minutes, or a tiny little bit over our time slot and allocation. But again, just from our side, just thank you for the opportunity to meet with you all today. Trevor, if there's any questions that perhaps you or any members that have attended today have, you're more than welcome to ask now, or indeed if you want to follow up with anything with us afterwards, we're very happy to pick that up with you.
Thanks, Gavin, and thanks to the whole team. That was really comprehensive overview, and it's great to meet everyone, put faces to names. So I know at least one or two have been emailing me, so yeah, it was really helpful. That. Does anyone have any questions? Who would like to ask the first question? Use the hand up function.
Incidentally, we won't take any offence if people don't have any questions.
Can I ask just one? I think it was
Sure.
David who mentioned, doing the meetings with employers online now.
Yeah.
How do you find that? I know it's handy in terms of just being able to link people in. How do you find, building a relationship with new clients? Because, doing meetings, I certainly find with people is okay on here. It's like it can be more challenging if you're meeting them for the first time because you can't build the rapport.
Yeah, to be honest, there's trade-offs to it. It means you can meet people more conveniently, but it also, I suppose, you're also tending to meet people if you're working from home in a comfortable environment. And actually that kind of very much changes the dynamic in terms of rapport building and so on, as opposed to, a traditional situation where I'm waiting in the lobby of a large corporate company, and they're trying to get from one meeting to another. So, they may feel that they don't want to keep you waiting and so on. But in a virtual environment, it's very easy to reschedule and stuff like that. But in terms of, I suppose, the rapport building, at the very start, it seemed a little strange, but it feels like person to person. When you're doing it all day, every day, you actually transcend any understanding that it's not kind of actually face to face. And then there's other aspects like the ability of the technology to allow you to share your screen, demonstrate exactly what you're talking about, as opposed to maybe in a boardroom where no one knows what the guest Wi-Fi is and you're trying to explain a complicated idea by gesticulating. So there's all kinds of trade-offs. And there is clients that I'm looking forward to being able to go and actually visit, and definitely will do that. But in many ways, not only is it more efficient, it feels in person it's actually, you know, it can be better in terms of the outcome you want. I'm sure there is, you know, some drawbacks in terms of actual rapport building, but the results, you know, so far have been better.
Okay. We can do some rapport building in the Mansion House then.
Absolutely.
There's a near giddy sense of excitement across graduate recruitment landscape at the minute, with people talking about meeting up in the Mansion House.
Yeah. Derek, do you want to?
Yeah, I thought I'd ask a question. I'm involved in innovation and engagement at National College of Art and Design, and I suppose on average we're doing around 50 to 60 projects for clients every year who are approaching NCAD for various reasons. Obviously, the main reason would be that they need design innovation help. They're developing products or developing services, or they might have communication design needs. I'm looking at your website, and I have to say I've just taken a cursory look, but I'm wondering what the temperature is out there for the creative industries, because, you know, when I'm looking at job opportunity listings, there's lots of them on your website, but I'm not necessarily seeing the creative industries being very well represented. I'm wondering how challenging that is for you, and what it looks like heading into the future.
Thanks, Gav. Gavin suggested I take this one. Well, I suppose, listen, we work, in terms of how we work with employers, we work on delivering subscription packages, and, you know, obviously, in terms of how we scale those packages depends on the size of the employer. Coming from the more creative industry side of things myself, I know how, and it's still very much the case, I know I've been speaking to graduates from that space as well, and that networking plays a huge part within, you know, jobs in the creative space, and I think it always will. But that said, we are aware that there are areas that we are definitely light on in terms of promoting jobs. So that's why, you know, things like the external vacancy feed, if you know, we happily feature internships once they're paid, and that's something we're extremely strict upon. That creative, and that's something that it's fundamental to the creative industry is internships. So if there are employers that, you know, Derek, if there are, you know, networks, if there are any outlets that can funnel good jobs, internships, and even content that will, you know, feed back into possible employer leads, please send them on, because it is something that we'd really like to incorporate on the site.
I will do that. Thanks for answering my question. I know it's challenging, and I'm not expecting necessarily that you have all the answers that I might need, but I like to think that sort of working together, we might
absolutely
hopefully push forward and make it better.
That's it, and that's what this call is for. That's what I mean. You know, if you had, oh, listen, such and such a network has such and such amount of jobs or opportunities at certain time of year, then we can put. Sorry, I just froze there. We can push them out through content and various other channels. So please do share what you have there.
Yeah, I don't want to monopolize the conversation here, but just touching briefly on the internship opportunities that you mentioned there, I am involved in trying to find internships for our Studio Plus cohort. So these are students who have opted to do additional year at their undergraduate education. It is challenging trying to find internships, particularly paid internships. However, we are seeing a rise in, I suppose, non-design companies who need design expertise looking for interns. The problem that we have there is putting interns into a non-design who are designers, and they're not the finished article by any stretch, as you'd imagine, but they need some kind of support. So, you know, perhaps we can work with employers to ensure that we can provide the kind of staffing levels, you know, that be required to mentor those students whilst they're in non-design agencies. And, you know, I think that might be a way of perhaps addressing that particular problem.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know, like, for instance, finance, you know, for instance, like the Big Four, they all require creatives. They have huge creative departments. But do students think of applying to them first? No. And do these companies always think of what they can gain from students who are still learning the trade? Probably not either. So maybe it's a content piece we can work on. But yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Thank you for answering my question.
Yeah.
Derek, just to follow up on that, I think that there's obviously an opportunity for us to have a follow-on conversation on that. So, perhaps one of the members of the commercial team will be able to get in contact with you afterwards, and to get a better understanding as to what you'd mentioned in terms of those employer offerings. If there are opportunities there, we'd be very happy to work with you on that. And also from a content perspective, if there's aspects that you feel aren't really being showcased in terms of the opportunities that are available for design and artistic students, well then from a content perspective, we can certainly reflect. We can work with you to get more of that content and obviously have that populated onto the platform as well.
I'd really appreciate that, Gavin. We are represented on your website. I see a number of interviews with, or at least one interview with one of our grads who's in the medical device design sector. A number of our courses are advertised on your website, but yeah, a follow-on conversation would be really useful, and perhaps us being able to provide case study content for your website would be useful in trying to attract more interest from non-creatives, perhaps in getting creatives into their companies at any level, whether it's internships or through jobs.
Okay, I'm just including my email address in the chat. Derek, excuse the hashtag at the end of it.
Oh, well,
so if you
I've
just want to
actually
take
reached out to you on LinkedIn there, so
gotcha.
One way or the other.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Super, you found me. Well, listen, our address is in Dublin as well, so you know pretty much where we live. Are there any? You're more than welcome. Are there any other questions that anybody may have for us?
There's a few comments there saying thank you. So if there's no other comments or questions, I think we can wrap it up. Okay.
Excellent. Well, listen, I suppose from our side, Trevor, Caroline, Gavin, I know Gavin isn't around today, but again, just from our side, thank you for the opportunity. It was great to see you all. I hope you found this to be of benefit, and hopefully we'll be in a position to see you in person very soon. As I said, the awards is only in a couple of weeks, so we'll rekindle all of those relationships in a few weeks.
Yeah, well, on behalf of everybody here and those not here, thank you to all of you, and great to meet all of you who've recently joined. So yeah, thanks for that overview. And we've recorded this, so we'll kind of snip it either side and we can share it with the other members who aren't around, and then if they have any questions they can follow up. We know your contact details. So thanks.
Super.
Have a good rest of the day.
Great to see you all.
Thank you.
Take care. Thanks all. Take care. All the best. Bye bye.